Thank you. It's great to see you guys again.
Yeah.
I was
Great
wondering.
to be seen. We're usually just a nebulous mist.
I've been studying your work for a while and really good at understanding everything, but especially based on the opening. There was one quote that you guys said.
That's the best combination of words that Esther has ever found to offer in an articulate way exactly what we mean to say about how this all works.
In 91, you guys had said, it is never a good idea for any of us as non-physical beings to stand around pointing the finger at the other. Then we end up in the same boat as you here in physical.
That's what we were just saying. We are in compassion, not empathy. We stay in our knowing of what you are wanting.
Well, the part that confused me was, but we will say to you, large bodies of physical and non-physical beings do that. There are many more in the non-physical that are still focused upon what they do not want than that are. In other words, the ratio of deliberate creators is about the same in non-physical dimension as it is in the physical dimension.
Well, we would never say that in terms of the non-physical realm where your inner being is and where your source is. But here's the distinction that's important to understand. And that undoubtedly came on the heels of some conversation about someone who was picking up on some thought forms or influences that they were trying to understand. So here's the clarification. Every thought that has ever been thought still exists. And when we speak of non-physical in the terminology that you've heard us offer here today, that non-physical realm is the source from which you have come. When you make your reemergence back into non-physical, it's where you will return to. That's pure positive energy. That's a non-resistant state. By your standards, even if there's slight variation that would be variation of interest, you would not be able to discern it as resistance. But since every thought that has ever been thought still exists, then there are rivers and streams of non-physical energy thought forms. It's the non-physical that has not yet turned to things. And so that's why it's possible to get enough momentum going on something unwanted that you think you're being inspired to more action about it, but it's not coming from that which is your source. Our best explanation of this is a woman in the Bay Area of California who was traveling across the big Bay bridges between her home and her work. And she said to us one day, Abraham, I'm having panic attacks when I'm on these bridges. Well, not long before that, there'd been an earthquake there, and one of the bridges had come down and some people were crushed. And so it was logical that there would be some fear about that when you're on the bridge. But we said to her, you're picking up on some thought forms. And that bothered her. What do you mean, thought forms? And we said, well, what has changed within you? What have you been focusing upon that has changed your point of attraction? Because she'd been going across those bridges for a long time, even after the earthquakes, and hadn't been bothered. So why now? And she said, I know what it is. My neighbor was burglarized. And so we've been getting together as a community trying to decide what we're going to do to protect ourselves. Should we get a night watchman? Should we put bars on our windows? Should we put gates up? And so the activation of vulnerability within her had made her now a vibrational match to the active vulnerability that some people were feeling as they were crossing those bridges, or to the vibration that had been left behind by people who had crossed those bridges. In other words, vibrations linger. It's about that. And so that's what that's about.
Thank you.